Hello, dear friends. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Mukesh English, Skill to Excel. In this video, I'm going to give you the highlights of a famous TED Talk by B.M.Hegde titled Changes Life. So let's begin it. Let's know before the explanation or the highlights of this TED Talk, let's know about B.M.Hegde. B.M.Hegde was born on 18th August 1938, Belle Monappa Hegde, full name. He's a cardiologist, professor of medicine, and an author. He was a vice chancellor of Manipal Academy of Higher Education from 1999 to 2003. He was awarded Padma Bhushan in 2010 as well as Padma Vibhushan in 2021. He has supported the theories of homeopathy as well as quantum healing. So now let's discuss the highlights of his TED Talk. Number one, he says that medicine is one area which requires a lot of changes. Then he says that fear of disease let you go for a checkup. Fear of dying is the biggest fear, and you go to every doctor. A minute you think you will die, and last is the fear of not knowing what is it so for you. So the doctors, they encash in this fear and they make money. So he comments that today the main fear, there is a fear of disease among everyone, and that's why there is a requirement of change, and the medicine is the only one area which requires a lot of changes here. Further, he says, he quotes or he gives a reference of James Wakely, who started a science journal to bring a change in the field of medical science, and the title is here Lancet. The audit shows that what was once synapses on the human body with a corrupt bunch of doctors has transformed into corporate monstrosity which is killing all over the world. Means to say, the corporate hospital, the corporate medicines are getting more in practice, which he would like to bring out here, and he titles it as a corporate monstrosity which is killing all over the world. Then he says the corporate hospitals where tests are served as first as a menu. Then he mentions that to sort of change the science of medicine, Dr. B.M. Hegde published about 250 science journals, articles in various journals all over the world, as well as to educate the doctors and the medical students. Dr. B.M. Hegde went around medical colleges all around the world, right from America down to the east to the eastern countries, except South America and China. Then also nothing happened. Then he tried to educate the consumer who has paid the rich dividends to the doctors. Then he got a chance to educate. There is an error here. Then he got a chance to educate the audience who listens to his talk, who listen to his talks, so that they don't become the bakras in the doctor's hands. Later, Dr. B.M. Hegde differentiated the coronary artery blocks and the coronary heart disease, and he says that they are pole apart. And today, corporate hospitals run on cardiac interventions according to Dr. B.M. Hegde. Then he speaks about the bypass surgery and angioplasty. Then he asks a question, where is the mind exactly? He asks a question that, where is the mind exactly? Then further he says that according to Panfield, the Canadian surgeon, mind is not in the brain because the brain is a small organ which cannot hold the mind. So mind is everywhere, mind is universal, mind is a channel zone where thoughts are projected, and the mind is consciousness, which Dr. B.M. Hegde has quoted here. Then he says that every chemical that we give in the form of medicine is today is very dangerous. Then he mentions the dominance of Western medicines because the government helps it to get promoted or to get introduced in the country. Then he says the drug lobby, he speaks about the drug lobbies in America, and he talks about the belief of evidence. Here, I would like to read a few anecdotes from his speech. He says you can create evidence. For example, for 50 years, he has been saying cholesterol is not a disease. Coconut oil is best oil because coconut oil and, and mother milk contains the same fatty acid. So coconut oil cannot be bad and other oils are not good, but nobody believed him. They all laughed at him. Now, United States of America has found out that is true, and now everybody says coconut oil is good, and coconut oil prices has gone up, skyrocketing, because America has said that. So we want everything come from America because we are 200, nearly 300 years of Western rule. We have become mental slaves. We have become politically independent for the politicians, but not for you and not for me. So he says you and me are still like NRIs, or like resident non-Indians. He says that we I should call it as a RNI, not NRI, RNI, resident but not Indians. So he says you are staying here, but thinking is still American mind or the English mind. So those RNI mentality has to be changed. So this is what he talks about, the belief of evidence. Then he speaks about the aspirin has got so much side effects, and to prove this he says people used to swallow an aspirin tablet after the age of 40 to keep the heart attacks away. The audit shows while the aspirin may or may not reduce a heart attack rate, it has said 10% of aspirin takers certainly get fatal cerebral hemorrhage, brain hemorrhage. He says he has lost a very important patient who was a vice chancellor in so many universities in Karnataka. Very important man and very wise, very nice man. He was given aspirin. So he told him and his family, he told B.M.Hegde told him, please stop that aspirin. But they would not listen because they said no, because their doctors had given. They told our doctors have prescribed it, so we should take it. So he continued it. One day he was phoning up a friend of his own friend in the evening, then just collapsed and became unconscious. So when the scanning was taken, we found that he had blood into his brain completely, and the brain was completely suppressed by the brain, and he died on the spot. So this is what is happening. B.M. Hegde says, so even aspirin, so don't take medicines unnecessarily. Take medicines very carefully. This is what he would like to mention here. Then he speaks about the minor illness syndromes. He says, B.M. Hegde says here, an audit in Canada showed that when a doctor sees one patient, a heart attack patient society, he will have seen 36,000 common illness syndromes, that is called minor illness syndromes. He said, we don't even teach that in the medical school. We teach about the coronary artery branches or the facial artery branches, but not the minor illness syndrome. So, what are the minor illness syndrome? The common cold, feverish cold, flu like illness, sore throat. And for all these things today, we go to doctor, we go to hospital, and we get so many medicines, or even the television advertisements say, सर में दर्द है हाँ यार ये भी है हाँ यार सो हाँ यार तो पंच दवा देने दे देना something like this. We get so many advertisement. So take these five and he will swallow, and immediately he whole things become normal. So you believe that actually these are all. It is Harvard University once Professor Simon who showed that Our granny's ginger is the best antiviral drug. Ginger, pepper, garlic together will probably solve most of these problems without any side effects at all. So, last but not the least, is the commonest thing you get is sore throat. You go to a doctor, you take antibiotics. An antibiotic spoils your health, and you would be surprised to know that the best treatment for a sore throat is a hot water sip. You sit quietly, take a mug of hot water. If you want, put a little lime in it to make it tasty, and keep on sipping for about an hour. When your sore throat becomes 1 degree Celsius higher, the viruses die and you are okay by the afternoon. So simple, and all this is because we have wonderful treatments in other systems also, which we say do not have evidence based. We say this uh, these remedies do not have, these treatments don't have the evidence. So now we know the evidence based of Western medicine is evidence manufactured. Then he talks about a patient in India. So Dr. B.M. Hegde, speaking about a patient in India, he says this he had a patient, a very important patient, a very important man in India. This man keeps seeing him every time whenever he goes to Chennai, and with him he always carries a small headache here. He says that I always carry small headache here. Yesterday again he came, he's about 94. He said, sir, I have small headache. So Dr. B.M. Hegde told him, dear sir, because you have a headache, you have a head, there must be an headache, and I have a treatment for that. You know who was he? He is a colleague of Dr. B.M. Hegde, C.N.R. Rao. And so when C.N.R. Rao got the Nobel Prize, what is that called? Bharat Ratna Award. This man did not get it. After that, the headache started. So Dr. B.M. Hegde said, I would, if I have the power, I request the government of India to give you Bharat Ratna. Whatever your headache will go. He laughed, and his assistant told me afterwards, Sir, Ninkal Satyama Solingne. So this is exactly our view also, but we can't tell him because he's a big man. That's the right treatment. So yesterday again he came. I told him, don't you worry, nothing will happen. Your headache is all right. He said all things. CAT scan, dog scan, PET scan, all kind of scan. Each time he goes to the doctor, he said, I have a headache. They scan his head, and I said that this rate you will have a cancer in this head because you have been scanning so many things. So this is a story. If he says, if I know the person, I know the treatment which does not require medicine. So he says that first, as a doctor, you need to understand the person, then obviously treatment will also be there. Then in the next, up next, he suggests, Dr. B.M. Hegde, he says that my suggestion is you require as less medicine as possible because life is very good. Then the day he changed himself, he says, Dr. B.M. Hegde says, you know, the day I changed myself, I was very young man and had a lot of degrees, things like that, and I had lost my head and I didn't know who I was. But one day, a young lady lost her husband at 2 o'clock in the morning, absolutely fit person, but a massive heart attack. Died, reported at 2 o'clock. My juniors called me. They said, sir, please come. This lady is uncontrollable. You come. So I went there at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I had not put on my shoes. I had gone in my chappals, walked into the ICU. This lady was rolling on bed. She caught hold of me with a big grip of my ankle and asked one profound question. Doctor, why did my husband die? I thought for a while, my God, with all my lore, I am a bloody fool today. I don't know the answer to this question. If she had asked me, how did my husband get a heart attack? I would have given a big lecture on what the textbook says. But when she said, why, I didn't know. So from that day, he changed his mind. Dr. B.M. Hegde always tells a student whether you like homeopathy, homeopathy, Yajurveda, or whatever it is, as long as you have empathy, sympathy, you are a good doctor. He has also given a slogans to his student. He said, be a good human being. You are a good doctor. Don't have to have any big degree, etc. And finally, Dr. B.M. Hegde, he emphasized saying that change is must. Medicine also changes. A niche change is required. Everything in life changes because life changes itself. So change is life. This is the concluding remark of Dr. B.M. Hegde by his TED Talk. So, dear friends, thank you so much for watching. Dear friends, thank you so much for watching this video. You can reach me at mukeshenglish@gmail.com. Please do subscribe the channel, click on the like button for more videos on literature, workbook, pronunciation, grammar, communication skills, presentation skills, interview skills. Stay in tune with Mukesh English. Thank you once again.